Ladies and gents, welcome back. The recent fire outbreak in Maui was devastating. The death toll is in the hundreds and growing, and people are looking to see who is to blame for such a situation. And while that's happening, many people are coming in and trying to pick at the devastated people of Lahaina and try to buy up their property. And this is quite disgusting. Now we'll get into this. The fires raged, and this was largely due to a hurricane that was coming through, and the high winds were carrying the flames. Now the blame is being blamed on the electrical company, in which the power lines were downed because of the winds, and well, they caught fire to the surrounding buildings and trees that were very dry because of the recent dry weather that was coming through in this summer. Now, this is the neighborhood of Lahaina where it was affected most. And we're going to get into the parts that weren't affected because that's an interesting part of the story as well, and something that's being talked about quite a bit. Hawaiian Electric stock plunges 40% after a lawsuit alleges it failed to shut off power ahead of the Maui wildfires. Now, this goes on further, and not just ahead of the wildfires. Now, there was downed power lines, and the electric company kept them on, so they were energized, causing further fires. This is devastating, and we can see some of this in the footage later in the video. I'll show some of that because there's allegations of odd things that I don't think are actually being seen in the videos, but this is definitely the case that the down power lines were still energized while the winds were blowing these energized lines around, causing further fires. Now, troubling reports are now surfacing about an Obama Foundation member and Maui water controller who didn't turn on the water and allow access to water for fighting these. This is, of course, being brought forward by Mike Cernovich on Twitter. Here's the article. A state official refused to release water for West Maui fires until it was too late, and it was devastating. This fire, especially with the wind and all of the fuel for the fire, it burned very hot. It burned so hot that it was actually melting the wheels on vehicles that were caught in the fire. You can see footage of aluminum wheels that have just completely melted, became molten, and were running in the streets at the time. Now, Hawaii residents slam investors. They say are already calling distraught families, offering to buy their scorched land while they pick over the ashes of their homes, as death toll rises to 99 and hundreds more are still missing. This is devastating, and people are coming in because this is valuable real estate. Now, you have to understand that this is real estate that has been contentious. I don't know if it's contentious. It's been owned by the locals there for however many hundreds and hundreds of years. And well, people have been, let's say, very persuasive in their attempts to try to purchase up this land. It's valuable real estate. It's in Maui. I mean, Hawaii is world renowned for its beaches and its scenery, but this is the situation. And as these people are suffering, it calls into question, were there motives to allow this to occur so that this kind of situation could come about? Now, that would be speculation, and we don't know that just yet, but investors are calling Maui wildfire victims to buy their Hawaii land. And this is just really, really disgusting to hear about in this time. And well, this is where people are trying to step in and say that this is wrong. This shouldn't be done. Lahaina is not for sale. Maui residents allege realtors are luring wildfire victims to sell off their land. Now, more articles about this. Maui fire victims face aggressive land offers from investors and realtors amid devastation. So obviously disgusting showing from all of these people. Wildfires were not an accident, Matt Wallace is saying on the internet here. Jeremy Special saying they are not. Hawaii is going to take over the land which they will stop permits. People sell to Hawaii for pennies on the dollar and then turn it into 15-minute cities is the allegation here. Now, President Biden jumped in on this to say we're laser focused on getting aid to survivors, including critical needs assistance, to a one-time $700 payment per household, offering relief during an unimaginably difficult time. Interesting language here, being laser focused. We're going to get into that just briefly here, but to offer $700 payment per household to people who have been devastated, where their homes have been lost, we're talking about billions and billions of dollars worth of damage here. This is unconscionable, especially at a time that they're giving so much money away to Ukraine to fight some proxy war over on the other side of the planet. We have staff on the ground dedicated to helping survivors navigate the registration process for your $700 payment. You might be able to buy a surfboard with that. That's a big old thanks from Joe Biden. Now, people are not very keen on this this response.
No more nothing for us anymore in the ocean except sunscreen. So let us get back to our island. We can survive. If the United States government don't like help us, maybe Japan going, they love Hawaii. Maybe one other country, but it's, if they can freaking take care of Ukraine, yeah, $40 billion go to Ukraine. Fucking shit ain't coming to us. What the fuck? My tax-paying money for 60 fucking years don't mean shit. But they're gonna take care of Ukraine, 40 fucking billion. But nobody's still here for take care of us. We're suffering. All this shit we gotta do on our own. Now they come, oh no, we like political. Oh, FEMA coming, Red Cross coming. None of these caravans can come in. Oh, political. When I hear you guys talk, I like mention some names. I don't more love for you guys. You guys full of shit. You guys reading something off on paper. I never feel sincerity or emotion. But my sister died. The first picture they saw of somebody dead was rough. Oh shit.
So forgive the language, but it's understandable how distraught this gentleman is in this situation. And yeah, it's very frustrating to see the government helping out foreign nations and not helping out their own people in this case. Now, people are talking about direct energy weapons. This is the big talk of the town. People showing
on the Hawaiian.
Again, direct energy weapons, saying that this was an attack from outer space. There's all kinds of stuff to be said about that. Now, you know, people are showing other footage of, you know, there's this house in Pennsylvania that blew up and speculating that that was some sort of direct energy weapon. Again, the memes are coming out. Don't want to sell your beachfront property to BlackRock? Everybody gets a direct energy weapon blast. This is, of course, Oprah Winfrey, who owns property in the area that was largely unaffected. It was unaffected. Now, you know, most people would say, oh, well, they have sprinklers. Well, where was the water access? If there was no water access for the local people in Lahaina, why did the billionaires and all these other people have water access to protect their properties? But this is the conspiracy theory at the moment. People are now saying the fires in Hawaii were caused by Chinese space lasers that can also shut down communication nodes. That I'm of the opinion that these lasers are benign and that the wildfires are caused by high winds and dry weather conditions. But what do you think? Well, what do you think? You can leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think about this whole situation. But this is the new tinfoil hat thing. Tinfoil hat's ready. Maui wildfires spark conspiracy theories about space lasers, Oprah land grabs, and suspicious trees. I don't know about the suspicious trees thing, but these are you know, this is all footage of, you know, and it looks clearly to be CGI. Now these high energy weapons do exist. I don't know if they're mounted in space, but they do exist in military application from large boats and whatnot. But they don't have a visible beam to them. You wouldn't be able to see that if that were the case anyway. This is the situation here. Now, people are showing these videos of what they say are space lasers that are coming down and hitting people's homes. Let's see this. There it is again. Now, when you see this in actuality,
you need to see what was going on, or to see if
what that looks like to me is perhaps either somebody added this after the fact, or it's probably an artifact from the lens of the camera. So if there's a crack or any sort of thing, you've all seen lens flares. Well, you can see this kind of thing that comes out on a camera. This is more footage. This is footage actually of power lines being downed. Now, when power lines go down, they do create very large arcs, and they're, visible light and sparks and things like that. Now, what's being said here is that, well, the lens flare that you're seeing on the front of the on the front of the screen, they're calling that the laser, the direct energy weapons. I doubt that that's what we're seeing here. It really just looks like a lens artifact in this case. Now, these weapons, or these things do exist though. These direct energy weapons, they exist. Here's obviously a dramatization of one where they added a cartoon laser beam into it. But this is what it would look like if a direct energy type thing were to be used. You don't see actually any of the beam. You just see the cutting that is happening and the fires that are starting. Now, the fires in Maui, they did start at the same time as power lines going down while the energy grid was still active. There was no attempts to turn off the energy grid. High winds. So it seems more likely that that was actually the case. Again, more people saying these are direct energy weapons that are being seen in these shots. That is clearly lightning. That is not a direct energy weapon of any kind. But this is the truth in this situation. But meanwhile, there are conspiracy theories that are just as crazy, and this is one where they're blaming climate change, and they're blaming your SUV and the cars that you use and the carbon that you produce and put into the atmosphere on these fires. There's nothing to suggest that wildfires are the product of climate change. There's nothing to suggest that wildfires are the product of CO2 in the atmosphere. This is nonsense, and this is something that's being peddled around the world in order to, well, just put more restrictions on people's lives by limiting how much carbon they can consume, because what's coming next is, well, the quotas, the amount that you're allowed to. But here are cases where this is what's being peddled. The Maui fire is one of the worst wildfire disasters in the US history. Even though everyone is freaking out, it was painstakingly obvious that something like this was going to happen. The year had the warmest June and July ever. Climate change action. No, they didn't. We didn't have the warmest June and July ever. We did not. That's not true. In fact, the June and July have been some of the coolest summer months in many, many years. This was definitely the case where it was, well, in a lot of cases, neglect. We're seeing, again, stocks plummeting with the electrical company because of lawsuits that are incoming for not having turned off the power during a windstorm. Now, windstorms are not that unusual for the island of Hawaii or any, coastal islands or coastal lands when you have hurricanes rolling through. So windstorms, you add on top of that very dry conditions, not due to climate change particularly, but dry conditions that come as a usual thing in the weather cycles. You want to call it climate change? Most people call it summer, but this is the case. There are people that could be liable in this case, not just people using their SUVs. But hey, let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and we'll see you. The next one will be coming up at probably 11 a.m. this morning Eastern time, so tune into that, and we'll see you then. Keep on trucking.